Hello, my wonderful people. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. I welcome you to this new day. I welcome you to this early Tuesday morning broadcast. And I welcome you all once again in this new month. Happy new month and a happy new day to all my fans out there, to all my subscribers, and to all those who lost what I'm doing. Happy new month to all the Biafran families and the lovers of Biafran freedom. Amigo, I don't arrive again this early morning with another blockbuster. Make on here. IPOB finally have revolted against the negligence of the Fulani control government of Nigeria. They have given them ultimatum. It's either they do what? It's either they set the date to hear their appeal or release Nnamdi Kanu. IPOB have already won the Supreme Court because this negligence can never be tolerated, not in Nigeria or not anywhere, even in a country, even in a banana republic. No one dares tolerate this kind of negligence. How can you holding somebody beyond what it's supposed to be? There's no any trial known to the law being hanging on the neck of Nnamdi Kanu until today. But still yet, the so-called government controlled by the Fulanis are still holding him hostage. And the international community was silent. They are blatantly refused to speak. All of them have went mute. The only thing they know is anyone that will favor them, simply because they think Nnamdi Kanu have nothing to contribute to their welfare. Because he is fighting for the liberation of all the Biafrans. So why must they speak? Because the earlier, if any day that the so-called Zoological Republic of Nigeria will let Biafrans to go, the international community that refuse to speak, they will suffer it, because all of them depend on the raw material that is coming from the Biafra land for their own development, while our country is dying, and the occupants of their same people, or the people that owns that mineral resources, are also dying of hunger. Anyway, my wonderful people, these days there's no too much talk. I'm only going straight to the news, so that I will save myself the stress and also save myself the headache because of my health. Anyway, thanks to you all that wish me well. Let's go straight to the reason why we are here. Set date to hear government's appeal or release Nnamdi Kanu. But before that, please remember you need to subscribe to my channel, like, and the most important thing, help me share this message, because the IPOB and occupants of over 75 million people have taken more than enough from this so-called Fulani control government of Nigeria. And that is why they have given them ultimatums. Either you do what? You hear the appeal being filed by their own people, by their own government, or you free Nnamdi Kanu. So let us read the news in details. The Supreme Court has been told to set a date to hear the federal government's appeal against the Court of Appeals judgment that discharged and acquitted the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, or release him. This was the position of the separatist group that happens on Monday, while alleging that the Apex Court was supporting Kanu's continued detention at the Department of State Service, DSS custody in Abuja. IPOB has gathered by Okute Daily Talk in a statement issued by East Media and Publicity Secretary Emma Powerless, demanded that the Apex Court should either fix a date to hear the Nigerian government's appeal against Kanu or be forced to release him. The group said it is obvious that the federal government or the Fulani government of Nigeria has literally abandoned their appeal against the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra at the Supreme Court of Nigeria, because they have no case against an honest man devoted to the emancipation of the oppressed and downtrodden in the society. This being the biggest court case in the history of Nigeria, it is the duty of the government to insist on diligent prosecutions of the case, rather than running away from their own court. It is indeed laughable that a person being persecuted by the federal government or by the Fulani government of Nigeria is the person asking them to come to court again. Why are they running with a question mark? Is this not bizarre? What is it that the Fulani government is afraid in pursuing a case they themselves brought at the Supreme Court against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? We would like to know, since the Fulani government and the judiciary are reluctant to hear this matter, is there any higher authority available to our leader to appeal to, since it is not likely that the Supreme Court of Nigeria will ever hear this matter? We make bold to say that the Supreme Court of Nigeria appears to be encouraging the illegal detention of our leader without any charge by failing to fix a date to hear a matter they have already sat twice over. This is unheard of. The Supreme Court's own rules provided for the accelerated hearing. Why then is this rule not being adhered to in a matter of this magnitude, where Nnamdi Kanu has already been discharged by the Appeal Court of Nigeria? The Fulani government of Nigeria that approached her own Supreme Court to challenge the judgment of the Appeal Court that discarded or that discharged our leader. So we are at a loss to understand what the delay at the Supreme Court is all about, unless they are under strict instructions from the so-called presidency not to hear the matter before them. In other words, if this is the case, the federal government of Nigeria should be magnanimous enough to accept defeat. Let them leave their ego and do what? Accept defeat. We can assure the federal government or the Fulani government of Nigeria that we shall accept with all humility this unescapable reality of show. According to the writer, our leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, is still being illegally held in the solitary confinement of the State Security Service SSS in Abuja dungeon on the pleasure of the Fulani government of Nigeria. Despite being discharged by a competent penultimate court in Nigeria or court of competent jurisdictions in Nigeria. This clearly constitutes the gravest infraction of the law and constitution of Nigeria on the face of specific and clear pronouncement by the appellate court that Onyendu Mazi Nnamdi Kanu should be released unconditionally, even with a compensation, and barred his further prosecution or trial before any court in Nigeria. Implicit in the above, therefore, is the fact that Onyendu Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's continued detention is arbitrary, unconstitutional, and illegal, since he is not currently undergoing any trial before any court on any indictment or whatsoever. The unfolding event at the Supreme Court of Nigeria, with a peculiar reference to the cancellation of the originally scheduled date for the hearing of the Fulani government appeal before the Supreme Court, is an indication that the Fulani government of Nigeria is hiding under the guise that the detention of our leader is lawful by relying on the unprecedented and unconstitutional order for stay of execution granted by the Malami Constituted Panel headed by Honorable Justice Simon Samani, but fails to understand that it is common knowledge and kindergarten law that no court worth its sort can stay a declaratory judgment of a same court. In extant criminal jurisprudence, as practiced in Nigeria, stay of execution is unknown to criminal law jurisprudence. In other words, the Justice Samani-led panel is the first panel of jurists since God created the world to stay the liberty of a defendant discharged by a competent court of law. This has never happened in the history of mankind. Furthermore, the abhorrence for our leader Nnamdi Kanu by the Fulani government of Nigeria is seasonally fueling the blind and ill-informed destruction of the basic laws and safeguards contained in the Constitution of Nigeria. And I have a question here before I proceed. This Simon Samani is the one that is spearheading the appeal court that's going to deliver judgment on the case against Agbado, the APC president. Abi, my dear brothers and sisters, if you are obedient and you are articulate, make una just forget it, because nothing good is going to come out from that query court tomorrow. Nigeria is not a member of BRICS. Nigeria is not a member of G20 summit, G20. Then tell me, what is Bola Ahmed Tinubu going to India to do? What business did he have to go to India? What is him going there to do? To go to borrow more money? He said he's going there with 38 private investors or private business owners. To do what? But before the departure, he have a meeting with the top head of military heads, all the security heads in the country, and he told them what to do. Somebody declared his case in the court that's supposed to be around for the final day of that very particular petition. He jumped off to the plane after instructing them to kill the Nigerians, anyone who dared to protest. And the so-called stupid DSS is out there warming up on how to kill Nigerians when they want to protest. You people have to be ready to wipe out the whole Nigerians, because I know it's going to happen. But I'm not inciting anybody to violence. So do not come here and tell me my channel don't support violence and I'm not encouraging violence. But the truth needs to be told that Bola Ahmed Tinubu have instructed these people to kill the same way he instructed the soldiers and his son and Fashola, not Fashola, Sanwo-Olu, to kill the innocent people protesting at the Lekki toll gate. He have already given the instruction again and jump off, so that when it happened, they will say, oh, after all, he is not around when it happened. We know about all these tricks. That's exactly what happened, because he have no business with going to India. He have no business with G20. After all, Nigeria is not part of the G20. Nigeria is not part of a growing economy. Rather, Nigeria is part of dying economies. So we have no any business of whatsoever going to India. So let it be known. If you hear my voice, if you get to this point, please make sure you share this message. The so-called APC president have instructed the DSS, the military, the police, the navy, all security heads on what to do if anybody dare to protest. Because I know tomorrow, the story might not be the same. I know tomorrow, the 6th of this thing. I thought they put this court sitting by 16th. Why did they bring it back to 6th? Because I've already know there's a G20 summit, so that he will say, oh, I went for this thing and all these things happened. We are watching and we are waiting. The basic safeguard enshrined in all the ancient legal codes, starting from Hammurabi, Mosaic law, Sharia law, to Magna Carta, to English common law of King Edward I in 1272. Our leader remains the one and only person in the history of mankind to remain in detention after being discharged, yet awaiting the validation of his release by a superior court. What Malami used Justice Samani to achieve is a reversal of the irreducible principle enshrined in the above ancient codes, which has now been destroyed by the Malami appointed panel of justice. It is on record that it took Malami and his panel only 8 days to obtain a stay of execution in detaining Nnamdi Kanu without a charge, but sadly it is now over a year, and appeal filed by the same federal government at the Supreme Court is yet to be heard. Of each all, the case will never be heard, according to the writer, Emma Powerless. So, my good people, the lovers of freedom and the lovers of mankind, the lovers of Biafran freedom and the lovers of Okute Daily Talk channel. Now here, I go take leave on. But before I leave on, hear the word of thought for today. Bola Ahmed Tinubu have instructed the soldiers to wipe out any Nigerian that dare to protest on Wednesday, when the court must have give unruly announcement of the petition in their custody. That is the word of the day. So ponder over this word. Think about it. Meditate on it. Tomorrow is going to be another history. Another history will be made in Nigeria tomorrow. I just pray that a repeat of a massacre that happened on the Lekki toll gate of 2020, October 20 precisely, will not repeat itself again, because if it happens this time around, the result is going to be a very grave danger. Exactly, I'm telling you people the truth. Because what is happening in Nigeria, we keep on saying we want to fight against Niger Republic that took power by force. But look at what is happening. From INEC to the appeal court. Tomorrow is going to be a different ball game. My prayer is that may we never experience such. That is all I have to say. So my good people, we're gonna do what? We're gonna keep on enjoying this one. Until I come your way again, I still remain Okute Daily Talk. Bye for now. Keynesiano.